trademarks, trade names are also a very key element to starting a business. As I mentioned before, some people may be concerned that they may be infringing upon someone else's trademark, or in the future someone will be infringing upon their trademark. And that's one of those things where, I have clients call me all the time and they say, I did a Google search, the name looks available, let's go ahead.
Well, how do you know that the name would look available by doing a Google search?
You won't. That's the key. That's where the red flags go up, because Google's great. It'll give you information on, kind of what's out there, but it's not a comprehensive search by any means, which is something that we would do.
Now, I read somewhere that, if you go and name your business about you, if this was like John Smith Shoe Repair,
right?
As long as I called it John Smith Shoe Repair and my name was John Smith, I would be okay.
That is not true, actually. There's a couple things there. If you imagine, let's say you and your friend Jerry and your other friend Ben decide to sell ice cream.
Okay.
Well, you couldn't have Ben and Jerry's ice cream. That's a federally registered trademark, and it's protected by their standpoint. So I guess the best way to say it is that there's no exclusive right to use your own name in Illinois or any other state. If you're infringing upon someone else's trademark, you're infringing upon someone else's trademark. I mean, we see a lot of surnames being very famous brands, McDonald's being one of them.
So
and Firestone, right? Those are all trademarks you could not use.
Well, my favorite story about this is that there was a pet food company. It was called Cadillac Dog Food.
Okay.
And actually, General Motors, who owned the Cadillac brand,
right,
went after them and said, you can't use the Cadillac brand on your dog food.
And that's a very interesting situation, because normally when we talk about trademarks, we talk about likelihood of confusion, meaning you couldn't sell ice cream under Ben & Jerry, but could you sell tires or shoes or something like that?
So I could have Ben & Jerry Auto Repair on Cicero Avenue.
Probably not, and the reason that is there's a whole other statute that comes in place, which is called the Federal Anti-Dilution Act. So those marks that are quote-unquote famous get a special level of protection that that a normal mark might not get.
So if you're Ben & Jerry and you want to open up a auto repair shop on Cicero, you ought to reverse it the other way and call it Jerry and Ben's?
That would not be a bad thing to do, because now we're getting away from the same industry of selling, and we've changed the name a little bit. So that would be not a bad way to alter it up a little bit. You still want to stay away from that a little bit, but there's two different statutes. There's the likelihood of confusion issue, the Lanham Act, and then there's the Anti-Dilution Act, which is an entirely different thing, which only applies to famous marks. What's a famous mark? You know what they are. You'll know it when you see it, I guess.